welcome Dr. Nirmala, the Dean of the Coimbatore Medical College Hospital, and ladies and gentlemen. This program is for members of Madras State Medical Association in the United Kingdom. Our members qualified from medical colleges of Tamil Nadu, and then they live here. It's also fair to say that we are doctors of Tamil Nadu. COVID pandemic started in United Kingdom, March 2020. So the lockdown was brought in. Most of our members were advised to stay at home. And then the committee thought that we should engage them monthly, first weekend, by arranging this kind of educational programs. We invited experts from UK, US, and India to take part on medical subjects, finance, and other subjects like yoga. This time last year, that is 4th of July 2020, our educational program was inaugurated by Dr. Sudha Seshayan, the Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu Medical University. On that stage, she concentrated on epidemiology of COVID pandemic and pathophysiology. The frequently occurring word was cytokine storm at that stage. The treatment was just evolving. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 year gone, and we are at first anniversary of our educational program. But the COVID is unrelented. Especially in India, the second wave is devastating, and a lot of people lost lives. Just for your information, ladies and gentlemen, worldwide, 4 million people died. In India, 400,000 died. In US, 600,000 died. And UK, 128,000 died. So one of the hotspots in the second wave in India is Coimbatore. So I chose Coimbatore, not because I'm from Coimbatore, but it's one of the hotspots in India. To give us what's happening in Coimbatore, we have Dr. Nirmala Appadurai, the Dean of Coimbatore Medical College Hospital. She obtained MBBS and MS in General Surgery in Coimbatore. She also had DGO from Stanley Medical College. After various appointments in the state of Tamil Nadu, she returned home to Coimbatore as a dean. Unfortunately, she was not greeted by garlands. She was greeted by COVID pandemic. But she wasted no time, and responded to the COVID pandemic. And we want to know how she did. That's why we are here. I will invite her first, and she will cover her topic for 30 minutes. And also, I will invite two other people. They are doctors from Coimbatore Medical College. One is a consultant anesthetist, still in Coimbatore. And another one is a consultant radiologist from US. So they will have 5 minutes each, and they will explain to us how they supported the COVID pandemic, and then shared the stress of Dr. Nirmala. They donated several oxygen plants. Okay, before that, Dr. Nirmala, the floor is yours. Please unmute myself.
I was fully in Coimbatore Medical College. I did my UG and PG also. MS I did in the Coimbatore Medical College, and DGO alone I did in Stanley Medical College, sir. I was fully oriented in academics rather than in the administration. But I don't know about the administration at all. Frankly, I tell that I don't know anything about administration, but as the day comes, I have to be the dean, and as the promotion comes. So I took the job as the dean, took it as a challenge only, that I can do that to my level best. So that I proceeded as first I was promoted. So I started my career as a dean in Tirupur Medical College. I was first posted, but there is no college, even now it is started. They are going to start in the next year only. I have not given any in charge of the Tirupur Medical College as soon as I enter as a dean. But I was looking after the hospital at that time, November 2019. I took the job as the dean in Tirupur Medical College. And as I went there, and I don't know anything about Corona, what is happening in, what is about Corona, what I have to do. Because I was, the whole hospital was under the control of JD. And just I go and come back. That's what I was doing. Then the charge was handed over to me in December, and then as soon as the charge was given in China, we heard about the Corona is in, coming up in, in the Wuhan, and so that our people are asking us to. Okay. Asking us to prepare for the Corona, but we don't know. I used to read about the Corona in the Google, and I came to know what is Corona, how we have to handle the Corona. Then I started, and with the instructions from the DPH, I started preparing for the isolation ward. That time, what is isolation ward? How you have? What are the norms of isolation ward? I don't know, in fact. And then. Then I started the career in, I started working out for the isolation ward. I prepared a Corona isolation ward in the Tirupur Medical College. Then they told, this is not the ward you have to keep a separate rooms. That time it was a very difficult task to keep the separate rooms. Seeking the help of the PWD, I started doing the separate rooms for the patients. That time I was transferred to the Coimbatore Government Medical College ESI Hospital. There I started my career. And at that time when I came, there was no patient was in as such Corona has come to the Coimbatore. But February 28th I came to the Coimbatore 2020. But the first case was reported on the 15th of March. By the time. That one girl from Spain, she is the first patient to come to our hospital in the, to the Coimbatore. She was, we were very difficult to, in fact, tackle her. And because she is well educated and she used to spread the news then and there to the media, it was very, very difficult to tackle that girl from Spain. And somehow every time she used to ask why the RT-PCR report is coming late. She was admitted with the suspicion of Corona, and then the sample was sent to the Pune. Actually, that time there was no RT-PCR lab was in the even in Tamil Nadu. We sent the sample to the Pune, and from there we have to get the result. It took around 1 week to get the result. But by the time she was nagging us like anything, we somehow or other we were able to manage her by telling that and this. And then finally the result came as a positive. And then she was in the hospital for nearing 15 to 20 days. And that time it was a great problem for us. We don't know how to tackle her. And somehow we managed. And the result then even the next patient came on. Next patient was on 1st of. The next patient is from the Tirupur, then UK returned. These two patients were the first one to have, but the results, the RT-PCR lab was the big problem that time. So we thought we have to make up a RT-PCR lab in our own institutions. We made it. In the later slides, I will tell. And the third one was that one railway doctor with the whole family. But in that peculiar is the only one kid was negative. That is the 10-month-old kid, and we cannot keep keep the kid separately from the mother. So we took it. That was also a great problem for us. And because of the we told the how the patient how the baby should be handled, and we taught the whole family how you have to be to protect the, because we ourselves don't know how it is going to, whether it is going to infect the kid or not. So we have taken all the precautions not to get the child infected. And then subsequently, this is our ESI hospital. We have got a good infrastructure in the ESI hospital in Coimbatore. And as soon as I came to the because the COVID is going to come, so we thought we have to make prepared ourselves. I put the reception and the help desk team for that, and the nodal team for the consumables and statistics, and the infrastructure arrangements were made, and training was given to all the sectors, and the administrative assistance with the help of our official office people. And the sanitation and disinfection was carried out by our social and preventive medicine team. And the laboratory services were carried out by biochemistry and the micro departments. And the radiological services based for CT, the radiology department was taking part. And the doctor duty team also, we don't know how to put the duty for the doctors, and they were reluctant whether to for a single day or they have to go in batches or like that. So we thought we can do it for 5 days, and 7 days quarantine was given in the initial period of our COVID. That there was a separate team of the doctors to put the duty rosters, and the staff nurses duty roster were handed over to the matrons as usual. And the diet, there is a dietitian, and with the diet, with the help of some of the professors, we were able to give the proper diet to the patients. And the both food arrangements for the patients and the staff was a task in the initial period. That was with the help of the food safety officer, we made it possible. We were the one to give the very good diet that was appreciated all over Tamil Nadu, and it was given by the Madhammati group of people. And we were giving very good food to the both to the patients as well as doctors and to the staff nurses. And the accommodation became a very great problem, because we have to make accommodation both for the doctors as well as to the staff nurses. But luckily we had some of the infrastructures in the ESI hospital. The duty doctors were made to stay in the CRRA quarters. The CRRA quarters luckily had a single rooms with separate restrooms, and the staff nurses were given the junior resident quarters, because it was announced holiday and lockdown has come by the time March. And the quarantine facilities was arranged outside the hospital, I mean the hotels. And the statistics and data management, because every time the higher officials used to ask the data then and there. So we appointed a data entry operators, and we made it possible, and then and there we gave the results to the higher officials, as well as we have the what is going on. And the periodical reporting was done. And the hospital workers and the sanitary workers were also they educate them, and to follow the protocols of the counseling also has to be done both for the doctors as well as so we made the in that, and we made it possible with the online counseling, as well as online counseling. Mainly we did by online counseling, but press is the very, what to say, it was only handled by me. Because of that only we went on very well, because the press people were so much nagging, and they want to project the negative things rather than the positive things what we are doing, even in that in spite of that critical moment. And so we somehow or other we managed the press. And the NGOs coordination, I have to tell about, even kind enough to support in a way, in a big manner. So we were able to have all the logistic support with them. Also with the TNMC help, we were made it possible. And Kapasura Kudini was that was one of the Ayurvedic preparation that was given exclusively that was taken care by the Ayush people. And yoga and stress management given, and IEC activity was carried out then and there for all the sectors of the people. And handling of the deceased was a very much big task, because each time when a patient dies, they have to we have to put it in a separate bag, and we have to put a lot of bleaching powders, and we should not give the body to the attenders, and that has to be handed over to the health inspector, and he in turn will take it to the crematorium, and he will with the very few people of the relatives only, they have to do the last rites. So that was a difficult task, tackling the attenders as well as the tackling that situation was very difficult that time. And security arrangements, the securities were asked not to allow any of the attenders inside the hospital. That was also a big task for us. In spite of it, we were able to control it. The previous way, we never allowed any of the attenders to be with the patient unless otherwise it is mandatory for the ICU patients, because even when we allow the ICU patients, we followed all the SOPs of the COVID. So we were able to manage somehow without allowing the attender in the previous wave. And the complaints and the grievances were addressed then and there, and we were asked we gave a separate phone number for the for any complaints. Then the patient attender as well as the patient.
Some noise.
Hello, sir.
There is some background noise. Priya, can you mute everybody, please? Okay.
Everyone is muted. I was trying to figure out where that background noise was coming from.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Please continue, Dr. Nirmala.
Then about the logistics, we put a separate team. The anatomy department has taken the in charge of all the logistics, and with the even for the government supply as well as from the NGOs, we made it separate for each and everything. We made a separate recording for the what is given by the NGOs. And the disinfection team, we did the disinfection every 4 hours throughout the hospital, as well as inside and out. So in front of as soon as the entry point, we made a hand washing wash basin. For all the persons who are entering the hospital, they have to wash their hands, then only they can enter the hospital. That arrangement was made. And also the walk-in shoe disinfection pool was made. That was even when we think it may look stupid also, but we did it in the previous wave, and also all the disinfection protocols followed in the previous wave. And then 174 patients were admitted, public patients, those who attended the conference. They were admitted all of a sudden in our hospital. That time we were finding it very difficult to manage those people. They were telling that without even any of the problem, you are just telling that we are having a COVID, and they are allowing, they are asking us to leave them from the hospital. But we were convincing the patient was a very, very difficult task. That time we called their heads and spoke with them. With the several meetings were held with them, and then only we were able to tackle them. And then they started cooperating us. Then we were able to manage. And one patient, even I want to tell that because of we were supplying only the vegetarian food at that time. That was a very good food only. In spite of it, they wanted the biryani from the home, and that time we were not allowing the biryani inside. So the frustrated patient even broke one of our windows, glass door. And since the majority of the patients were asymptomatic, they were reluctant to stay inside the hospitals. And that time when we discharged each and every time, we thought it was a big one. And every time we greeted them with bouquets and the fruits, everything was given, and even the discharges was attended by our honorable, collector, as well as by the our ministers. That time it was considered as a great thing. And these are all the some while doing the discharge. Every time we collect the patient, and together we used to discharge. We give them a advice how to they have to be at home, and what are all the quarantine, how the patient should behave in the quarantine. That was the discharge routinely given by us during the previous wave. And this is the timeline of the events that I want to tell. And training sensitization start even before the patient was admitted. We sensitized to the doctors as well as the staff nurses. And the 10th of March, we gave them IEC activities. And the 12th March, the sensitization and the training of the staffs for the nurses and the donning and doffing techniques were taught. And on 20th March, we were given that sensitization for even for the sanitary workers. And 23rd March, our hospital was designated as a fully COVID hospital. And 24th March, since the sanitizers were not available in our, were very much demand at that time, we made ourselves the indigenous sanitizer that was named as the ESI Liam, that is Icilium. We named that, and with all fancy things we did those times. And the radiographers and the CT technicians and the lab technicians were trained in the safety precautions on 27th March. And the first was, and we ourselves prepared the viral transport medium on the 1st of April 2020. And the radiogram and that time we were not that every patient should be taken CT. We were preparing them with the digital X-rays. That the new X-ray digital X-ray was installed on 4th of March. And 4th of March, 50 patients were admitted. Then it is gone till 12th of April, it has gone up to 150, and 17th of April, it has gone to 200, and 18th of April, we ourselves started doing the RT-PCR test by installing first of its kind without even the support of the government, with the support of our local collector as well as by our MLA. I was able to procure an RT-PCR machine, and I installed the machine in our hospital. That is on 18th. And IEC activities were given to that time. The students were there. March it was. And IEC activities for the doctors and paramedics, and yoga programs, and the video conferencing for the stress relief was done. And before the COVID, the hospital was having 506 beds, and these are all the infrastructure, very minimum infrastructure only they were having before the COVID was started. Then after COVID, we have scaled up our beds to 665, and ICU beds were increased to 100, and the oxygen beds were 300. And the ventilators were previously it was 10, then we made it available for 46, and the HFNO, BiPAP, CPAP, everything was we got and the CT scan was only one CT scan machine was there, but we made it to installing another one CT scan within a span of 15 days. And the liquid oxygen cylinder was a great bonus, because even during that time we had a 2 KL cylinder only. That was a problematic. We were able to manage with the high flow oxygen. We were able to manage only 150 patients. But in the last August, that is in the 2020, we had a huge number of patients admitted with those who need oxygen were admitted. That time we installed 11 KL cylinders with the help of our TNMSC, and the multiparameters strength was increased to 54, and the pulse oximeters were also we got, and there are enough pulse oximeters were available, and the defibrillators were also made available by us. And initially we used to take all the COVID patients wearing the PPE. That time we don't know how the COVID should be, so we did it like that. And this is the RT-PCR. We scaled up our RT-PCR lab by procuring one by one all the equipments and even the UPS, everything we got by our own. And this is the second CT scan machine with X-ray machines installed. And this is the screening forms we have given in different languages to our patients, both in English, Tamil as well as in Hindi. This is our emergency point where we used to receive, our one staff will be ready to receive any of the sick patients in the emergency entrance. This is our state-of-art ICU lab in the ESI hospital. This is our arrangements were inspected by the district collector. And this is our OPD block where we used to receive the mild and asymptomatic patients. And the registration is done at the OP. And the Kabasura Kudineer was routinely given to all patients, those who are entering the OP. And this is the thermal screening done in for all the patients. And the registration form given to the patients. And they are writing the registration form and they will hand over to the staff. In turn, it will be handed over to the doctors. The doctors examining the patients, and if they need the swab, then they are referred for the swab. By the whisk, we were able to do the swab. And the swab was then given to the lab. And this is then the patient, if the patient is having the symptoms, even without the COVID, all the suspected patients were admitted in the isolation wards. And we don't know how the isolation wards would be. The concept was the superiors instructed us to have the separate room. That was a very big task for us, making separate rooms for each and every patient. Then somehow we made it in ESI because it was having a good infrastructure. And this is the diet chart. Our diet chart was praised by many of the people. We gave at morning, starting from morning 6:30 till night, we used to give them periodically all the food, with beverages and the food. And these are all some appreciations we got from the in the press. This is CT scan was taken for all the patients. I have to thank our CT department in the ESI. Without hesitation, they used to do CT for all the patients. Our number crossed 9,000. And the pediatric team, we had a positive pediatric patients also. Last wave in the ESI, we had 566 patients admitted. And but with the antenatal mothers, when newborn were admitted around 333. So our discharge, more than 800 patients, 800 children were discharged from our ESI hospital last wave. And the obstetrics also, antenatal patients, 421 patients were admitted with the antenatal COVID patients. And the deliveries was around 236 deliveries were conducted in the last wave in the ESI hospital. And the psychiatric services were provided by our psychiatrists routinely. And they were all the psychiatric problems were dealt with by them. So they made our job very easy. And we are with our Honorable Chief Minister, I had a video conferencing how we are handling the situation of the COVID in our hospital. This is finally we had in January we had a Kovai Villa in our hospital. That time our staffs were went for the helicopter ride as a jolly ride. And COVID vaccination, they started coming. We had a special camp, a dry run was conducted in our hospital. That was visited. That was the time the dry run was inaugurated by our Honorable Health Minister and the local administration minister that time. And the first vaccination was done by me in our hospital because many were reluctant at that time to get the vaccination. And even the Pongal, we have never left that Pongal also. With our students, we made it possible. Pongal Villa also in our hospital. And this is the periodically we used to have the meetings with our ministers as well as with our higher officials about the COVID protocols and as well as how to go about it. And this is the Honorable Minister's visit. And our food was inspected by our Honorable Local Minister. And the CT scan machine was in second CT was inaugurated by the local minister, and even with the flag hoisting was done in our hospital as a routine in spite of the COVID pandemic, and received the award for the handling the COVID in a good way by our district collector. And these are some of the appreciations we got from the for the management of the COVID in the ESI hospital. Even with the 80% involvement of the lung, one antenatal mother was saved in the ESI hospital, thanks to our OG team as well as by the anesthesia team. Then different all emergency procedures were from the CMC. They were referring to the ESI hospital. The time we did all the emergency procedures with the COVID positive patients. In pyloric stenosis was operated, and we made it. There was a difficulty in telling the results to the patients, so we made it possible by giving them the message through the SMS. This is our RT-PCR lab. These are all some of the challenges we had during the challenging cases we dealt with during our COVID pandemic in the first wave. Then we crossed 1 lakh tests. This is in the CMC. This is our Professor Dandapani. Many of you know that our professor got vaccinated in the ESI hospital. These are all some of the press people. They have highlighted our achievements. This is we were honored by flowering from the helicopter in Kovai Villa. Then started, I was transferred to after being there for 1 year, I was transferred to Coimbatore Medical College on February 26th. From that onwards, I was doing only the COVID activity, even in CMC. Assumed as the dean, and that time the ILI OPD cases were 68 only, and that time the admission was only the 16 patients where COVID patients were in the ward, and out of which 7 SARI and the 5 were COVID positive, and the rest were suspected. And then started rising. The ILI OP went to the peak. ILI OPD, we had around 400 cases per day, and out of which we admitted at a one point of time we had 1,500 inpatients in our hospital. That was the time we were finding it very difficult. And this is the in between. As soon as I start as a dean, I was doing the non-COVID work also. That time Tobacco Cessation Center was inaugurated, and we were doing a good. The cardiology department was doing a wonderful job by doing cardiac intervention programs, and also cath lab was the functions were going on, and they arranged the CME. I participated in the CME, but everything has been changed by the COVID in the April. And the oxygen challenges we had in the CMCHS were oxygen supported beds were very, only 500 beds were there. That time oxygen scarcity, we faced very much scarcity for the oxygen. That time only many of our friends, even in the US people, as he was Vani Madam, with the support of Vani Madam, we made it possible in our hospital. First one was contributed by the Ardar group, by my classmate with Balavengat, and by the Nitya and group were organizing it, and they made it possible for us. With that was that was the one first oxygen generator installed in our hospital. By the time now we are having around then again, for 20 beds it was started. Now we are having for 400 beds exclusive oxygen generators by various philanthropists has come forward, seeing that working well. Many came forward to donate us. thanks to all the philanthropists who has supported us in that crisis period. And that time we find it very difficult to give the bed for the people. That time there was a long waiting period for the admission. There was a chaos in the ILIOP. Then we had with the help of the administration and the district administrations, with the higher officials and with the secretaries, we made an ILIOP and the triaging center in the Government Arts College. Then only we were able to tackle the situation in the high time. And meantime, before starting the ILIOP in the Government Arts College, we had a very big disastrous event in the ILIOP. One waiting ambulance got fire, and that time we were very scared. But with God's grace, no one was injured in that incident, and we were very much thankful to the God. In spite of our crisis moment, we were able to tackle that situation. And the other thing is, the human resource was a great problem. And that time we appointed all the sectors of the people, including the doctors, staff nurses, and the multi-purpose health workers. All the people were, and also the other challenge was the dead body disposal, because the death was too high that time. And that time the disposal of the body there was no place to place them in the mortuary, and we made a separate tin sheet mortuary for that for the time being. And we were able to keep the body, and we were able to dispose the bodies with due respect. And also in between that, the PGs went on strike, and CRRI and lab technician, all the sectors demanding some or other things, they went for the strike. That was also a great problem for me. I was somehow or other, I was able to tackle all the things. And this is our crowded ILIOP. You can see how many ambulances are waiting in our ILIOP. And then we got the oxygen bus. Even the patients were given oxygen in the bus. Then our oxygen generator, this was the one made, first oxygen generator made, that was inspected by our Honorable Health Minister as well as by the Honorable Food Minister. And this is the ward where that oxygen generator was supplying. You can see the green tubings. That is the thing we made it. This is the plastic ward, plastic surgery ward. We made it possible. And then for the transport of the patients from hospital to the COVID care centers, we arranged the bus with the help of the school bus. This is the arrangement we made for the Oxy Center at the Government Arts College. Preliminary works were going on. And this is the temporary manifold. We made it possible in the, in the Arts College. And also we kept that 2 KL cylinder that was in the CMC campus, was shifted to the Government Arts College, where we made it possible 200 oxy beds. And this is our oxy beds visited by our Honorable Health Minister. And then oxy bed was inaugurated by our Chepak MLA Udayanidhi Stalin. And this is another thing we made it possible in the Codicea. That is the all our oxygen beds, but with the oxygen concentrators, we made it possible. That was inspected by our Honorable Health Secretary, Chief Secretary Irayanbu sir, and our Honorable Health Secretary as well as our District Collector inspected the same. And various meetings were held with our higher officials then and there. And resources, as I already told you, even the manpower was given by the philanthropist from the Pricol group and other people. And the sanitation was carried out by the Pricol and the Indian Chamber of Commerce. And the staff nurses for the Oxy bus was given by the Let's Thank Foundation. Many things, anesthesia technicians, volunteers, and data entry operators. The support was to the maximum level that time by the Coimbatore NGOs. We were very thankful to the NGOs even now. And logistics, we had all the logistics, whatever we want, we were able to get that time with the help of government as well as by the many of the NGOs. And the essential, everything we had. And I know many of you know our Professor Sadasivam sir. He donated even the cash and also the surgical items and medicines. Many of the philanthropic activities you can see in this. This is the incident. We were worried at that time. This is the 108 ambulance got fire, and that was with the help of the fire safety people. We were switched off that, and then we were started the OP within an hour. Then the media interview. In between, we had the action activities. In between, we had these are the children with the cochlear implants. That was also going on. We honored the children. These are all the various Women's Day celebrations. And ambulance was given by our MLA Anadi Srinivasan, and that for the to carry the dead bodies. And this is the temporary shed made for the to keep the deceased one. Challenges, we had initially 555 beds only with oxygen beds. We scaled up to our bed strength was increased to 1,457. Initially, we had 325 oxygen beds. Now it is scaled up to 1,006, and the oxygen bed on the tall I described, I think so. This is our Honorable Chief Minister visited our Oxy Center. This is the Honorable Chief Minister when he came to the ESI hospital. He wore the PPE and went inside the ICU to see the patients. This is the oxygen, cars were inaugurated by our Honorable Chief Minister. This is the meetings were held up in our hospital with our HODs, of the various teams to how to give the quality treatment to the patients. We had every day. This is our NGOs, the sanitary workers, and every time we used to have the orientation program for the doctors before they are going for the duty, because the protocols were changing, and every team before going they have to attend the orientation program. And in between we inaugurated the cricket ground also for our students. And because the blood donation was going down during that time, all our superior officials like collector as well as COP, SP, all who came forward to donate the blood. This is the oxygen generator that will cater to 450 PN that was donated by the Aquasab. This is another one. This is 1970 batch. That is attached to the neurosurgery block. This is our preparedness for the third wave. Since they are telling the COVID is going to come predominantly going to affect the children, we are preparing the pediatric ward for the third wave. In between, I used to attend all the kidney meeting, everything as going on as usual. And kidney day was celebrated in our hospital, and higher officials with the principal secretary to the government, Dr. Siddiq sir came, and he was instructing us to do how to go about it. And these are philanthropic activities. This is our batch. I don't know which batch it is. These people are working in our hospital. They belong to our own alumni. This is one patient with the pericardial effusion. They did a pericardiectomy by our cardiothoracic department and by the cardiologist. This is yoga yoga day celebrated with our new collector, yoga program. This is antenatal, postnatal vaccine was given to all the patients, those who are delivered in our hospital. Then mucormycosis, again, this was a challenge, but the separate wards were put up for the mucormycosis. Right now, we have around 135 patients even now, but total number of patients so far admitted was 250 to 300. We have discharged. They were our ENT team, Aphthal team, and as well as our neurosurgery and oncologists all are playing a role in treating the mucormycosis, because 2 patients had an enucleation of the eye also. And the antifungal drugs were not available that time. That was given by the donated by the Atma USA group. And this is our mucormycosis patients on discharge. This is our artificial limb center. In between, we were doing that also. Around 27 patients were given artificial limb in our Institute of Orthopedics. This is the Doctors' Day celebration 2 days back in our CMC. By Rotarians honored us. Thank you. It was I can tell many things, but I shortened it because of the time constraints. But we had a very challenging times, but we were able to manage somehow with the help of our team, as well as by the other people in the Coimbatore, as well as by the inside the state, outside the state, as well as the outside the country. But somehow, without the experience of the administrations, somehow I made it. I don't know what to say.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nirmala. We like to give you breathing space. You've done excellent.
Well done, Nirmala. Well done, Nirmala.
Thank you, thank you, sir.
For the viewers from USA and UK, we chose Coimbatore. As I already said, it was one of the hotspots. And then, there's a saying in Tamil, Orubanai chotrukku oru soru padam. So what Dr. Nirmala described was oru soru. Adu nalla vendirukku. They demonstrated an excellent rapid response, and I'm sure they have done in all the hospitals in India and same thing. But I need to highlight another thing. It's unlike in UK and USA, the GDP spent for health service in Indian government is only 1.75%.
Yes, sir.
Which is far less than UK, which is 7.5%, and US 11%. So what I like to say is, even with 11%, 7.5% GDP, Europe, USA, they've all struggled initially to set up a team. And then India, with whatever you got, you demonstrated a very good service to people. Obviously, you had a good support from so-called philanthropists, local, the Rotarians, then alumni from US, UK. We all supported very well. I'm glad you showed the 1970 batch oxygen plant, which I was part of it. And Rajesh really helped us to install this. Now, I don't know whether Bala Venkat's in the audience now.
To tell in this at this juncture.
I'm there, sir. I'm there.
Yeah. Okay. I think for our group, question and answer is an essential part of the meeting. So I just asked Bala Venkat to give us 2 minutes from his side, and then
only one thing I want to put forward, sir.
Okay.
One, attending the phone calls, that was a big, I don't know what to say. I had continuous phone calls. Even my voice has changed because of that. Overstraining. I don't know what to say, sir. During that time, everybody was asking oxygen bed, but without telling no to anyone, we were able to tackle the situation, sir. That thing I want to project.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmala. You are from Pollachi. I know my wife is from Pollachi. I know girls from Pollachi, they can talk 24 hours a day. You've done very well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We have the co-speaker on the screen. So shall I invite Rajesh from USA? Rajesh, you tell us what you have done to support Dr. Nirmala in Coimbatore Medical College Hospital. Rajesh, you can unmute and talk.
Yes. Do you hear me? Everyone here?
Yeah.
Is everyone comfortable in Tamil, or is there anyone in the group doesn't know Tamil?
I think Tamil is okay.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm comfortable. So,
okay.
like, let me introduce myself. Because I did now Coimbatore Medical College at 92 la join pannanga, 92 to 97. Then I did a radiology in Ahmedabad for 4 years. So intervention radiology is my passion. So basically what happened was Dr. Matthew Cherian, inspiration. So I would like to do the, some endovascular thing. So then went to Chicago and then Florida, Texas, and right now I'm in Reno, mainly practicing neurointerventional radiology or neurointerventional surgery. So stroke or aneurysm, treating them endovascular means. So the COVID, I just, Dr. I have to thank Dr. Shanmugharaj sir because he asked me to give, what we did, what we did, did in Coimbatore Medical College. So the story starts like this. So நம்ம தமிழ்ல சொல்லுவாங்க மனம் இருந்தால் மார்க்கம் உண்டு அப்படின்னு. So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு நாள் சும்மா நாங்க we are just eating, dinner 6 o'clock. என்னோட wife நித்யா, she just asked me, இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. நாங்க ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன் வச்சிருக்கோம் 7-8 இயர்ஸா ஆர்டர் கார்பரேஷன் சொல்லி ஒரு நான் ப்ராஃபிட் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் I've been doing for last 8 years, helping people in India. Then she just asked me, okay, can we do something? So what I was thinking, okay, this is main problem is oxygen and the bigger stuff. So we, government is already doing, so we don't have to do anything. So we just that's what I was kind of quiet in this, during this COVID. So Nithya told, can we do something? So that is the thought. It's started. It's like a spark. So immediately what we did was I called my dad and Nithya called her mom, Dr. Vani Mohan. So my dad called, her ஊருக்கு மங்களக்கரை புதூர்ல தான் நான் பிறந்த ஊர். ஸோ அவங்களை கூப்பிட்டு என்னாவது பண்ணலாமா, ஏதாவது கோவிட் இருக்கான்னு சொல்லி. Then the ஊர் தலைவர் said, no, it's nothing, we are all okay. But I think Dr. Vani Mohan, என்னோட அத்தை, called Dr. Nirmala madam. So Dr. Nirmala madam said, yes, there's an issue, there's a lot of things happening. So I think she told to contact Dr. Bala Venkat. So anesthesiologist, senior anesthesiologist, Ganga. So then we've been talking within few days and Dr. Ramalingam sir joined with us. And then we are all talking like how to do or what to do. But during this process, during these talks are happening. So this is what I want, the important message, what we did, how we did. So, Nithya and we talking like, okay, we have $15,000 in the bank, right? Like 15,000. So what can we do? Like we need at least, 150,000 to do, to buy at least 100 concentrators. So the problem is massive. A lot of people are struggling, like even 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs may not be enough or may not have any impact, right? So what we did, so Nithya, what she did, okay, we have 15,000. Let us put 15,000 more, $15,000 more from our side. So then we will ask people to donate, because we have to be an example, like, before telling others to do, and we have to tell. So then within us, we didn't think too much. Then we just put like our account in 15,000, we put it in, and then that become 30. So then I send a common message to every, like maybe a group of 20 physicians. Like the thought was, okay, I'm a doctor practicing in the US. If I can donate 15,000, then everyone else can do also. So then within like 4 hours or 5 hours, we could able to raise almost $100,000. So because of the way, that the emotion was, all the, because of the COVID situation, everyone knows they want to help people because everyone, but they don't know how. So since we had some infrastructure already ordered, and then since everyone knows about us, so it's easy to, raise the fund. Then, it's just not the money, because money sometimes, we can have the money, but we don't know how to, to help. And that's where I think Dr. Bala Venkat played a very, very important role. And along with 1970 batch, Dr. Vani Mogan, Dr. Ashok Kumar, they're all helping, then discussing. And Dr. Bala Venkat, like every morning and evening, and he's practicing like very busy practice in between, those hours. And he guided us, what to do and a lot of things. And we could able to, buy the oxygen concentrator and, within like few days, and then put it in the CMC. But the main thing, along with Dr. Bala Venkat, and I have to thank Dr. Nirmala Madam, because without her help, because there's a lot of people may not even like, they might have thought, they might have think like, okay, this is someone from US donating, and there may be a lot of political pressure and not to get help from others because the media and everything. But despite of all, Dr. The Dean, Nirmala Madam, like she said, okay, go ahead, do whatever you can. The patients are the most important person here. I think without, Bala Venkat sir and Nirmala Madam, we wouldn't have achieved this. So some of this is the teamwork. Like, I'll finish it within 2 minutes because I have only 5 minutes time. So the message is, I feel, we have to dream big, because if we dream big, we can achieve whatever we can. Like, I'm from Mangalakarai-Pudur, with the interior, village where there's no bus. Still there's one, I don't think there's still bus is going. So Tamil medical da padichanga, but then if I can able to come here, Reno is like around 1 million, and then 10 years ago there was no stroke program. Like I'm the one who could able to start the stroke program, and now still like alone, I'm a single person. I just got the help. Like we are doing around 180 large vessel occlusion here. So the reason I'm telling, it is possible, anyone can do. So Dr. Ashok Kumar, what he mentioned, asked recently, so let us make a Coimbatore Medical College as a state-of-the-art hospital, equivalent to any other hospital. So that is the thought. Now it is in my mind. So sometimes it may be, oh, is it possible? So, there may be a doubt maybe coming to, our mind, but there's, if we try, we can achieve anything, because my thinking is there is no such thing called in a medicine, a best medicine or better medicine. There's only one way to practice medicine, because there's one, if the patient comes, we should able to give a standard of care. But we can do it. We can make a Coimbatore Medical College as the world's best, say we can't tell the best, like we can provide the state of the art, the medical. I'm happy this CMC alumni is developing. That is one wing. I understand this is just one wing of the whole process. Like we have administrators, we have students, we have a lot of things, but we can all work together and with the aim of making Coimbatore Medical College as the state-of-the-art hospital, and we can do it within a year or so. So thanks for giving this opportunity to talk, and we'll work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajesh. Rajesh, a lot of our members from Stanley and Madras Medical College here. I'm sure you have thrown your gauntlet on the stage. I'm going to have a lot of backlash from them, saying that, Stanley and MMC are great. How can Coimbatore? But we will prove Coimbatore will be a best institution one day.
I hope.
Okay, thank you. You just reminded me what the late President Abdul Kalam said to the youngsters. You have to dream. Unless you dream, you don't achieve anything. So I'm glad youngsters like you have dreams, and I wish you good luck and to do many more things.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bala Venkat on the screen.
Yeah, I'm there, sir.
Yeah, just 2 minutes, please, Bala. Your role.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shanmugharaj. I think it's been a pleasure to be a part of a team which could save lives. On March 3rd, I was told that I'm a part of the Rotary COVID task force established by the 41 Rotary clubs of Coimbatore, and I was given in charge of the equipment section. I gave a call to my classmate Nirmala. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So I gave a call to Dr. Nirmala and asked her what equipment does the government hospital need? And she said, we need oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. And May 3rd they were peaking, and both in ESI and the government hospital, they increased their bed strength disproportionate to the amount of oxygen that was available. It was in few hundreds. And also the fact that majority of the patients who were coming to these two centers were those who needed oxygen. So there was a deficit of close to 400 beds across both these hospitals, which needed oxygen. And now how to procure oxygen in such a short notice? So here I would like to let you know what innovation was done in the city of Coimbatore. So the minute I got this information, immediately within an hour, we organized the G41, we call it. The 41 Rotary clubs came together on a Zoom platform. I presented to them the current scenario and the need for the oxygen. They wanted me to make a 2-minute video and showing the current status, which was made and circulated across the city. But of course, it went a bit viral, bit outside the country as well. Now, one was to get money. Second was to produce oxygen. And the oxygen concentrators, the 5 liters per minute and 10 liters per minute, were laborious. They were becoming hot. They needed a lot of manual support, and it has to run 24 hours. Here was an occasion where we had all the staff nurses stressed. So we need something to do for that. So we called the oxygen concentrator, the generators. They're manufactured in Coimbatore. We called a Trident, the one which manufactures huge 1,000 liter per minute generator. And the CEO said the Prime Minister's office has booked all the machines for the next 3 months. And then we didn't have any other option. So we started exploring. Then Faraday Ozone was a company which is the largest ozone manufacturer in India. We called him, who is based in Coimbatore, who is also a Rotarian, and asked him, what can we do? His brilliance, in 48 hours, he said he had both zeolite and the molecular sieve. And he said within 48 hours, he produced 100 liters per minute oxygen generators, which gave a purity of 93 to 96%, which was acceptable to the Indian pharmacopoeia. So with this, we called Dr. Nirmala again and said, see, this is something which we can do. And is that okay for you? I should compliment Nirmala for being extremely positive and agreeing to this And immediately the plastic surgery ward got the first 20 beds. I'm happy to say that we continued to do this, and through the philanthropic effort, the Rotary itself contributed 1.8 crores, and all from the G41 clubs. Each machine costed, each oxygen generator for 20 beds, including the piping and the flow meter, costed us 27 lakhs, because we thought it's just not enough to give oxygen for this crisis. We wanted the maintenance to be done. So we paid the annual maintenance contract for 5 years. So the cost was 27 lakhs for 20 beds. And I'm very, very happy to say that in the city of Coimbatore, with the efforts of the Rotary and the philanthropists like Ardar platform, Rajesh, I would have made some innumerable calls, Nitya and Rajesh, and who immediately had a turnover of 1 crore, Vani Mohan madam, and I think it was a continuous networking which happened. And also a lot of philanthropists in Coimbatore came forward, and the total collection, which was about 7 crores, and we have established 600 permanent oxygen beds, which can, with the annual maintenance contract in the city of Coimbatore. So I like to highlight the way we worked in getting the oxygen from the atmosphere and converting ozone, the manufacturer, into an oxygen generator with a purity which is acceptable by the Indian Pharmacopoeia, and the speed with which it was done. Like within 48 hours, he came in. And I'm very, very happy to say, because the model worked well, now they have put this in 48 different government hospitals across the state of Tamil Nadu. So the Faraday ozone needs a great compliment. And also I would like to thank LG, who gave the compressors in such short notice to make sure this generator works. I'm going to end my speech by saying one small episode. This was a driver who was working in our hospital 14 years ago. He's about 43 years old. His wife calls me on May 11th and says that he has got a saturation of 68 and she doesn't have money. And this is when I called the CMCH anesthesia HOD, Kalyana Sundaram, with whom I was coordinating to put these generators in place. I said, you need to do something to save this life. And this was at night about 8 p.m. And immediately he came in, he was put on the oxygen on the generators, which we have created through the Ardar platform 1970 batch and the Rotary Clubs of Coimbatore. So one of the beds, oxygen beds, went to him. And I'm extremely happy to say, went with an oxygen saturation of 68, a 43-year-old male. He's alive today because of what was done to the city in such a short notice. This is an example of how a widow was converted into a person who can live with the husband. I think the impact was phenomenal. I can say several stories, but because of short of time, I would like to compliment everyone who participated in this. But one thing which I understood is humanity persists. Generosity is persisting. And when we come together, we can do wonders. And I'm sure that the national pride was deeply hurt by the media showing the dead bodies and showing how the country managed, which was again a problem in all the developed countries. But because of the free media, we were projected across the world. So all that I tell every Rotary person here is, third wave, we should see that we will defeat the third wave. And we have taken up vaccination in a massive scale in the private sector through Rotary. And we wish, and we are sure, the latest model of the IIT Kanpur has predicted that if the vaccination goes on in the speed with which we are doing about 45 lakhs vaccination per day in this country, 1.5, like 12 crores last month, 12 crores this month, and 12 crores in August. If this is going to be the speed with which we vaccinate, I am very, very sure the third wave will be truncated. With this hope, I sincerely thank all those who have been part of this meet, and I thank Dr. Shanmugharaj for inaugurating an organization of collectively the Tamil Nadu doctors in UK, I'm sure you will, together, we will make sure, as Rajesh had mentioned, Coimbatore Medical College, the Oxford of India. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Now, with the permission from all the audience today, we confer the title called COVID Busters to Dr. Nirmala, to Dr. Balavengat and Rajesh. Okay, so like a Ghostbusters in Hollywood film, and you three of you are COVID busters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Now, question and answer time,
Thank you, sir.
which I said is an integral part of this group. So I'm going to ask the audience first. Now, put your question in the chat box. Put your question in the chat box, and then we'll call you one by one.
Sir,
Yeah.
since I'm traveling, if I have a question, one or two, I will take it and then resume my journey. I'm in Salem now, getting towards Coimbatore.
Are you inviting your guests for your daughter's wedding then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Any questions to Balavengat? Please put it in a chat box. Right. Okay. It's nothing there. Well, thank you, Bala. Carry on with your travel. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Well made it, Balavenkat. Well made it.
That's a
was typing
Ramalingam.
it. What speedy things you have taken for the vaccination? A question.
Pardon?
Sorry.
Yeah,
To my co-host, can you show the member who's asking the question on the screen?
Who was asking the question?
Who was asking the question? Please put your name.
Hi, this is Hari Bhaskaran from UK.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Please say your name, where you are from, and your question, please.
Hi. Yeah, this is Hari Bhaskaran from UK, from Leicester. So, yeah, it's well done to Nirmala, Balavenkat, and Rajesh. So, as you predicted, and the last word, that the speedy vaccination is going to help. So, what steps you have taken so far? I think with the global anomaly, what we can able to contribute towards achieving that.
See, actually, probably Nirmala will be answering something, but what I would probably let know is most of the non-governmental organizations are pooling their resources to get the vaccine done. Now it's open for the private sector in this country, and the Covishield is costing 780 rupees and Covaxin is costing 1,400. So now what they're doing is to make sure that based on the Brazil study, which showed that if 70% of the adult population get even one dose of the vaccine, we can tremendously decrease the number of positive cases, the morbidity and the mortality, keeping that as a target. And we are working now. I'm happy to say I spoke to the Director of Public Health last week. He said 60% of the Chennai population, of the adult population, have received one dose of the vaccine. And in Coimbatore, it's about 38%. And what the NGOs are doing now is to procuring the vaccine directly from the vaccine manufacturers. So it's just not the government, but also the NGOs are working on it. And also I want to compliment the government. Now, they've started going, every ward they've started going and inquiring who is vaccinated, who is not vaccinated. So it's actually going to the home. So the kind of awareness and the acceptance level, there was vaccine hesitancy initially, but now I think everyone wants to get vaccinated. So it's both the government and the NGOs are working together to make sure that we achieve this 70% at least one dose.
Thank you, Bala. I think to Hari Bhaskar, it's also this non-availability of vaccine because the Indian government had only two options, Covishield and Covaxin initially. Now they open for Sputnik from Russia, Moderna from US, and also this Pfizer. So it's going to be available. Then obviously people get vaccinated in a large number in future. Okay, I have a question from, well, there's a
Thank you, both of you.
a remark from Kannan from 2020. Kannan, is there a question or your compliment?
It's both, sir. I'm really inspired by talks from our senior and Nirmala ma'am.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know how easy or how difficult was it to get the pool of money? What were the challenges people faced from the alumni point of view?
Yeah. Well, it's a very large area, but Rajesh will say in just nutshell couple of sentences. Rajesh.
Yes, so that's a good question. So the money, sending money to India, it's kind of difficult. A lot of people, like what I heard, wants to donate, but sometimes how to donate is the problem, and sending money. So I think this is an opportunity because what we did 8 years ago as a non-profit corporation based on US, it helped to establish the trust in the local community. It's not happened within one day, because if I would have asked the money just like that, then people would have hesitated. But what our people, like my friends know, like I've been doing this kind of a stuff for a couple of years, so there was some kind of a trust. The second thing, we are like a proper organization with the IRS, with the bank account, with everything. So even like so we are, as an alumni, like I'm trying to establish, because this is the order which is like my personal with a different agenda, which is like a medical and educational help. But what we should do, right now, I feel in a UK or US, because every individual country have a different laws and regulations with this money transfer thing and getting the tax benefit. I think right now we are kind of a cooling down phase. Like still we need a help, but we can start the process and help get the infrastructure so ready for in a different kind of a help needed in the future. So I think that is the lesson we can learn from this episode, where if we start now and within a couple of years we can have like a system in place to help if the situation arises.
Yeah.
So
Shanmugara, can I answer a little bit of it? How we did it?
Yeah.
We have a family charity called MC Foundation. So my nephews, niece, who are all there in Gulf countries and America, they all contributed to the MC Foundation charity, from which we contributed something like 5 lakh worth of oxygen concentrators to field.
Yeah.
So if you have a charity with 80G, then it is possible to transfer to that account. There is no tax deduction. So that way the whole amount goes to the hospital. That's how we did it through about 15 of our nephews, niece and friends.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Ram. Ram is from 1971 batch. I couldn't see him, Priya.
Oh, he was on.
Okay. Yeah, he's there. Right. Okay. Yes. Well, like a COVID treatment evolving over the year, how to bring money from foreign countries to India also evolving. Is that the right phrase, Rajesh?
Sir, come again.
Yeah, it's just evolving. You mean we are learning how to send money from abroad to India?
Yes, we are learning, we are evolving.
Yeah.
Because I think the many people they look into the two ways. Once you have an organization, it's not like people want to get the tax benefit. People don't mind, for $100, it's not like or $1,000, but they look into it. Okay, this is the proper organization. So then they get some trust. So right now, if I go and give money for India, then it's difficult. So that is why it is important if we can establish something like a proper organization, we can help from individual country and to India. And then I feel our alumni in India, we should make sure they get that FRC, I'm not sure, like the license or whatever.
FCRA, okay.
FCRA, so they can receive the funding from the foreign. So then anyone can individually they can donate. So I think
Okay.
it's a learning process. We are going in the right
we are working on it. We are working on it, and we will move on. Sumati Lakshman
Yes.
from UK
Yeah.
to Nirmala.
I have no questions. I just want to congratulate Dr. Nirmala, in dealing with an Himalayan task with no previous administrative experience, in dealing with it in an excellent way, dealing with the patients, the doctors, the public, the media, the government officials. She has done really well, and I really want to congratulate her. From the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Thank you, Sumati.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Nice meeting you after a very long time. I am seeing your face after, I think, 30 years.
Yes, yeah, and me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I understand you are classmates.
Yes,
sir.
yeah.
Yes,
and
sir.
hostel mates.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Now, Krishna Nadar, Kittu, is there a question or appreciation to Dr. Nirmala?
Just a request.
Okay.
So I could not believe that she was so innovative in creating a pool to walk. Just like every time I go to Tirupati, I have to wash my feet at the entrance to the temple. So with her all influence and amazing talent, she can recommend this to the Honorable Chief Minister to create a pool on every school entrance, every temple entrance, along with the tap to wash the hands. It will cut down the third wave tremendously. Thank you, Dr. Nirmala.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Siva Subramaniam from my batch, he says, congratulations to Dr. Nirmala. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then there's a comment from,
I can see.
he's there. Okay. Any question, Siva, or just appreciation?
He's on mute.
You have to unmute. Siva, you have to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah. You can speak now.
நன்றி சொல்றேன், அவ்வளவுதான். ஏன்னா
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
ரிசல்ட் எடுத்து clear பண்ணியிருக்காங்க.
Right.
நான் 10 years முன்னாடி JDR கோயம்புத்தூர்
Right.
முதல்ல. இப்போ அவங்க மேடத்தினுடைய ஒர்க்க பார்க்கல ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. ஓகே.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
So 10 years முன்னாடி COVID வந்திருந்தா Siva would have been in trouble. Now he's free. Okay. There is a comment from Velusamy Sivakumar. Is that a question or a comment? You have to unmute.
Sorry, yeah. Okay, can I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sivakumar is a consultant psychiatrist in Sheffield, UK. Yeah, go on with your question.
First of all, well done, Nirmala. And
you.
I think it's
Thank you, Siva.
really a huge task, actually. Now, I just want to mention this, actually. I keep saying this, whether whole state, the local government officials, do they do enough to educate the public and keep all the social distancing properly? And whether by doing that, whether they are properly helping the health service to face this very hard task. Why I'm saying that is, now in UK, the whole year, the government keeps on telling public that you have to protect the health service by doing their job, to maintaining this distance and taking all the precautions. But somehow, no, whether the governments, ministers, or collectors, or all the local bodies, whether they really appreciate the health services real hard problems, and whether they do enough. That's my question, actually.
Yes, really, what I mean to say is, you are asking about the SOP, whether they are following it or not. They are telling, but whether it is strictly followed or not, I don't know. But the people are, whether they are ignorant, whether there is a less awareness among the people, I don't know. But seeing the second wave, I think they may be, the lockdown is going to get over from tomorrow. The buses are going to run. I don't know, the schools are going to open the next month. I don't know how it will be. They have to follow. There is no other go. Unless there is they follow the SOP, we may come across third wave in the future also. But it is within the hands of the public only, I think so. And also regarding what you asked, the second question regarding whether they appreciate your hard work or not. They really appreciated us in this pandemic because everyone struggled, I think so. We had a very tough time in this pandemic. The shortage of remdesivir. The remdesivir was a big task that was given to the medical colleges to sell the remdesivir in the counter. That job should not have been given to us. But for a short while, we did that also. That time I had a threatening calls. In fact, I had a threatening calls to give the remdesivir out of way, but in spite of it, I was able to manage the show. These are all the things, but really the people, our higher officials know who is doing a real good job and who is not doing. They all know, I think so. They are then and there, they are appreciating us.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, Siva, the political interference is the integral part of Indian society. Number one. Number two, people, there are some hard people, whatever you say, they don't listen to you. See, a lot of people didn't come for vaccination in the beginning. Only now they're beginning to learn. So, it's a major issue, and I don't know, things might change in future. Thank you. And there is a comment from Dr. Vani Rangasamy. Are you the brother of Rajesh? Are you the brother of Rajesh?
No, sir. I belong to the CMC 90 batch, sir.
Okay.
At present, I am working as a pulmonologist in CMC.
Okay.
Just I wanted to thank everybody.
Right.
Actually, it was a very fast, swift action and timely, intelligent action by Dr. Balavenkat and Rajesh and all of the philanthropists who all of you all would have supported.
Yeah.
And I was the one to first work in that plastic ward by efforts of our Dean Madam and the boldness with which she asks and also accepts the donations and all the funds. You know, all the obstacles which will prevent her from all the political administrative obstacles which will prevent her from receiving all those. In spite of it, she will go ahead with whatever is necessary for the people and for the healthcare workers. She will do it immediately. And for her call, there was a swift response from our alumni and also from all the other Tamil Nadu doctors who were living abroad. They immediately supported our homeland. So I want to thank one and all of you all for all these philanthropic activities and in supporting in such a short call from our side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. There's a comment from appreciation from Sajani Thomas from US. Sajani, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you, Dr. Shanmugharaj. Yes, folks, I'm Dr. Sajani Thomas and I'm 1971 batch, currently retired and in Chicago, was a family physician doing OB. I cannot express the gratitude and the amazing job that you guys have done. Dr. Nirmala Madam, you are just superb. Dr. Rajesh, I think there is a very very dedicated woman behind you. Nithya, thank you so much for what you've done and sown the seed in there to Dr. Rajesh. Dr. Balavenkat, you have been amazing in carrying it through and conducting all the groundwork and processing the whole thing. All the philanthropists, thank you very much. You guys have you can now understand what is happening with the money that you guys have contributed and how much hard work is involved in this. Thank you, one and all. And please carry on the great work. Dr. Nirmala Madam, anything can be achieved when a woman starts doing the work. Okay? So go, ladies, go. Okay. We have it. Thank you all. Dr. Shanmugaraj, thank you for hosting this. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sajini. We are not going to that area today. But I have given them a title, COVID Busters. She's gone. Okay. And
thank you, Shanmugaraj.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Kannan. Okay, Kannan we has already discussed. Yeah. Question from Kittu to Dr. Nirmala. Please create the disinfectant pool in every public areas. I think we have covered that. Okay. Okay.
Dr. Chandra has asked a question.
Oh, Dr. Chandra, are you there?
Thanks, Dr. Shanmugaraj. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Chandra from UK. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it's immense, what should I say, appreciation to Dr. Nirmala for doing what she's done under tremendous pressure in unprecedented circumstances. It's not easy to be on the front line, tackling day-to-day problems facing the press, and then having the initiative to, organize the way she's done, tripling of bed capacities. It is tremendous achievement, and hats off to her and her administrative team. And the next would be thanks to Bala Venkat and Dr. Rajesh and 70 batch and others, and everyone else who has contributed. So it has been really an eye-opener for what can be achieved when there is a lot of help and collaboration. But the question I got for Dr. Nirmala is that I hope the PGs and the students and the CRIs have adequate pool of PPEs for the presuming the third wave. And also, what's the current status of Delta variant in Coimbatore at present? So hopefully the vaccination should cover a proportion of population by August, September. So if you can update on that, that would be good. And it's also important to protect the frontline staff as much as you can. And I think Dr. Vani, the pulmonology department, frontline healthcare worker dealing with the problem, and the ENT and the staff and other people who are dealing with mucormycosis. Well done. So can't thank everyone.
Okay, Dr. Nirmala.
So regarding third wave, we are working out, sir. Now we are in the preparatory phase for the third wave. If at all, if it comes, we are not dismantled any of the already existing infrastructures, temporary infrastructures that we have created in the Government Arts College building. Around 200 oxy beds where even now it is available. And we are going to keep for another 6 months at least. And also all the beds almost in our 2/3 of our hospital is having the oxygen beds. And also we have got a plan to set up the pediatric. We have to equip the pediatric. We are procuring now the pediatric mask and all these whatever is needed for the pediatric. I have asked for the requirements. In due course, I am going to get it, sir. Somehow we are prepared and hope it should not come. The third wave should not come because going on seeing the COVID, our even doctors, paramedics, everybody is now in the frustrated state. Hope it should not come. If it comes, we have to tackle that. There is no other go. We will face, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Shanmugaraj.
Yeah, hello, Ram.
Last comment.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I've been seeing Dean Dr. Nirmala for 2-3 months. Every now and then either to supply the whatever is the need, like in huge amounts of pulse oximeters, oxygen concentrators, all those things. And I know her for last so many years. I was treating her father, so know her for so many years. And she was such a cheerful lady. Suddenly got into such a big problem. I could not really believe that she will manage it or not. But she did wonderfully well. And the only thing is she feels all the time a little bit stressed because the political interference and the media, everything is coming and blocking the progress. So don't worry about that, Nirmala. You just do what you are doing is excellent. Just continue the same thing and be extraordinarily prepared for the third wave. So you can have a committee and then you can have some Zoom call or something, how the third wave is going to hit us and how best you can get the help from your well-wishers. We are always there for the support and you are doing excellent and continue the same good work. All the best.
Sir, can I add? Sir, can I?
One person, those who used to interact with me often, and he's started putting a e-library in our hospital. Thank you very much, sir. We are at it, sir. We will cooperate with you for setting up a e-library in our hospital premises, sir. Thank you, sir.
Madam.
Along that line, Dr. Nirmala, he is also working on SimLab, he and Sajani. And then we three of us will work on training the public first responders. So once COVID settles down, we will come back with the package and we'll work with you. And please support us.
Sir, can I add something? Sir, can I add something? Just a very 1 minute, like a 1 second. Maybe.
Okay.
This is me. This is
Rajesh. Yeah, go ahead.
Rajesh. Yeah. This is requested to our Honorable Dean, like Dr. Nirmala. Since I heard Dr. Ramalingam sir about the alumni doing. So in future, can I ask a CMC or any other hospital, like include one member from a CMC alumni? Obviously, it has to be a local member, like Dr. Ramalingam sir or anyone. In the important meetings or decision meeting, like one member to be there. So what happens is then that the alumni knows the situation then and there, and then they can spread the need and quickly. So then they can also help to achieve some goals, because I feel, we all came from a Coimbatore Medical College, and fortunately we are in the different countries, different hospitals, and practicing a different way of medicine. And so then we can and implement those things to our hospital. For that, it will be nice to have one seat in a meeting as an alumni member, and that will be, will greatly helpful to achieve the goals.
Thank you, Rajesh. It's not an unreasonable request, Dr. Nirmala, that you have 12 alumni working in CMCH, so releasing one of them for alumni meeting will be nice. Or you can come yourself.
Sure, sir. So many working in our hospital, sir. They are even now they are the part of our even the Kalyana Sundaram, who is the HOD of the anesthesia, who made a great role in this second wave. He is also an alumni of Coimbatore Medical College only. We are all here, sir. We are all here to welcome you at any time, sir.
Okay, thank you. Well,
thank you, sir.
Yeah. It's nearly 2 hours and we didn't feel that way, Dr. Nirmala. You and Rajesh and Bala Venkat has done very well. If there's no further any further questions.
Sir, I would like to keep a request.
Yeah.
Glad that you invited me for the Zoom meeting. I got to know so much about the noble work done. I request that we get snippets of these video and circulate it among our social media platforms, where we have trying to build a strong alumni network on Facebook and Twitter and Telegram. So it's a request from my side that we have snippets from this meeting It's very
Right.
inspiring to hear from all our seniors.
Okay. Okay, Kannan, I think you have left me some job to do now. I need to, I need to edit the recording and then circulate it to our UK members first and ask their any objection for putting in CMC alumni, and then give you the okay, then you can do it. Yes, by all means. I'm sure Dr. Nirmala will allow that.
Yes, sir, but in a hurry, I made this PowerPoint presentation within a short notice there. I think it is not up to the mark.
It was good.
Usually I took long hours to prepare a PPT, but this time I made it within 2 to 3 hours. I am not satisfied with my preparation to this forum. I don't know whether it is up to the mark to put it in the media or not. I don't know, sir.
No, I think you made a mark. I think everybody agrees with that. You
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Sannuraj, I got a small request.
Right. Okay.
I went to the Boston Howard bookstore last week.
Yeah.
Spent the whole day.
Right.
Just like that, we all should join together with Dr. Ramalingam to appreciate his electronic library. With all our distinguished professors' digital photos frames displayed on the wall to appreciate, and make it like a Harvard bookstore.
Well,
Titu, can I answer? I have already prepared a list of about 25 professors.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's another comment coming from. Who is that?
1 second.
Dr. Rajshekhar, sir.
Rajshekhar, okay.
Sir, Sannuraj, sir.
Solunga.
Sir, I am really very thankful to you, and I after coming to this meeting, I heard a lot about you, sir. First, I want to say something about you, sir, because I heard about you that you are a very great athlete and a very handsome man during the college days. Now also you are maintaining your very handsome personality, and that the secret you have to reveal in some other meeting. And really, I am very thankful to you, sir. You are so vibrant and very nice. And regarding Dr. Nirmala, and I am able to recognize her face. She was my junior in the college, I belong to 1976 batch, and I know her charming face on those days. And still it is so charming, and she is very wonderfully has done a very excellent job. But what I want to make it a record here is, suppose you give some injection as a doctor to some patient, you don't know whether they will get an anaphylaxis. Immediately when they get an anaphylaxis, as a doctor you will run through and you will save the patient at any cost. So that way, where we are put in administration, whether we are put in to manage a patient, a doctor can always prove his mettle. Always that is the caliber of a doctor, but we don't know inherently the capacity what we are having. That's what it is realized by her talk and her capacity. And not only that, basically not to show myself that I worked as a deputy director of medical services and 20 collectors, and I know what is the administrative hiccups and difficulties with the different politics and different people and organizing different functions. And she worked in the previous government and also the present government. I know the difficulty very well. And she is so very nicely, compatibly done the job in a very excellent way. But that she put her heart, and really thankful to you. And the same way, all the people of NRI doctors are so very much patriotic to our nation, and you are donating a lot to our country and doing a very great job. I am very much humbled, and I learned a lot today. And initially, I was not very active in this CMC Global Alumni. I was just observing all these people and the post, the Europe football goals, and Sannuraj, Manikiraj, and Sivasubramaniam was my own senior and worked as a superintendent in Erode GH Hospital, and I worked as a DD tuberculosis, and I looked after the Revising Action Control Program, and we had a good time there. And now I feel that I have a lot of job to do with you all in a united way, and I also should contribute something whatever possible physically and
Okay.
whatever things. And I
See,
really
wait and see.
Thank you.
Rajsekaran, wait and see until Shanmugharaj will become the health minister of UK.
I approve that.
Rajsekaran, I think I need to respond to your initial comment. Yes, I was an outstanding.
I want to meet you personally.
Okay.
I love you.
Jesus, save us.
Can I respond to you? Can I respond?
Yes.
Okay. I was a very good athlete those days. I was handsome, but I was not attracted to any of the girls in my batch. But I was attracted to a girl in 1973 batch.
I see.
You are still handsome, man.
Thank you.
I just want one last comment.
I belong to 1976 batch, sir. You attracted to a girl of 1976 batch.
I know, but the girl who thought I was handsome and attractive was from 1973 batch. Okay, last comment from Sajani.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I think behind everybody who's put in all this hard work, we do have to appreciate the family, what they have gone through, what they have succumbed to, and how much of their precious more time that they have to spend with each one who's involved in the COVID has been taken away from them. So thank you all. Thank you to the families for putting up and allowing your head of families to get involved in this and take away that precious time that they had to give to you guys. So thank you once again. You guys are amazing. Keep up the good work. See you all. Happy 4th to all in US. Okay?
Okay.
I'm off to meet my grandchildren.
All right. Okay.
One thing I want to make, sir. So I thought that my son is put up in US. My daughter is put up in UK. I thought that I feel very aloof and I have no other work and thus my life is coming to a complete. After meeting all of you, I heard that my life got some more meaning even after now also. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
2 hours. We've done a wonderful job. I just want to thank few people and close the meeting. I like to thank Dr. Nirmala. With all her obvious COVID duties, she was here 2 hours with us. Giving a nice talk and answering to the questions. I like to thank Bala Venkat and Rajesh giving their share of COVID handling. And I thank my co-host Priya and Sumadi Lakshman from UK. And I thank all the participants giving 2 hours to this meeting from all over the world. I declare the meeting is closed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.